Hello, my name is Jillian. I will be doing my midterm book review on The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. I do have all of this written down, so I'll just attach the document on the assignment. So, The Immortal Rules was published in March of 2013. Julie Kagawa was born in Sacramento, California, but moved to Hawaii with her family at the age of 9. She is of Japanese descent, which plays a lot into the majority of her novels, but she currently lives in Louisville, Kentucky, and she has written a ton of novels, way more than I could list. The book jacket summary of the book is Allison Sekimoto survives in the Fringe, where the vampires who killed her mother rule, and she and her crew of outcasts must hide from the monsters at night. All that drives Allie is her hatred of vampires, who keeps humans as prey, until the night Allie herself dies and becomes one of the monsters. When she hears of a mythical place called Eden that might have a cure for the blood disease that killed off most of this civilization, Allie decides to seek it out. Hiding among a band of humans, she begins a journey that will have unforeseen consequences to herself, to the boy she's falling for who believes she's human, and to the future of the world. Now Allie must decide what and who she is worth dying for, again. The main characters are obviously Allison Sekimoto. She is the main protagonist of the novel. She is a young, unregistered human in the beginning of the book, and in her last few breaths of life, she agrees to let a master vampire turn her so she can keep living. She is extremely smart for being an unregistered and uses her cleverness and good character to win her way into a human camp in hopes to find Eden. Another character is Kanan. He is the master vampire who turns Allison into a vampire. He then trains her to live on her own in the world where vampires rule. He is prevalent more in the beginning and towards the end of the novel, but is still a very key character because of his relationship with the main character. Stick is Allison's best friend and non-relative little brother. Stick and Allison are both part of a small gang of unregisters who fight to survive in the Fringe. Stick is more of a secondary character, but much of Allison's character is revealed in the beginning because of her relationship with him in that interaction. Another character is Ezekiel or Zeke Cross. He is the son of the group leader Jebediah Cross. He is Allison's love interest. The book dives pretty deep into his backstory since he's such a main character, but those details would really be spoilers. They reveal a lot about the story and everything, but he's a very interesting character. Jackal is the antagonist of the novel. He is the Blood King of Old Chicago and is the blood brother of Allison, which means they were both created by the same master vampire, which was Kanan. More towards the end of the book, Allison must choose between joining leagues with her blood brother and reigning over the humans, or save the humans that she is banded with to find Eden. The Immortal Rules is book 1 of a 3-part series called The Blood of Eden. I have not read the rest of the series, but I really want to. This novel series is a young adult novel because it falls into the categories of dystopian fiction, fantasy fiction, adventure fiction, post-apocalyptic fiction, and obviously vampire fiction. The main characters are around the ages of the intended reading population, and despite its fantasy and fiction elements, there are themes within the novel that are relatable to the readers, like young love, family issues, social group drama, and finding oneself in the midst of chaos in society. I would recommend this book to any readers beginning at the age of 14. I read this book for the first time in high school and have read it multiple times since then, and I'm 20 now. I believe that younger readers could appreciate this book as well, but the book is pretty dense and intense at some parts. So if some readers were advanced, they would most likely be able to enjoy the book. It's just depending on the reader. It's better to age up than age down. This book deals a lot with death, which is a sensitive subject for a lot of readers, obviously because it deals with the apocalyptic and like turning into vampires and all of that. There are parts in the book that are very difficult to read through because of this, but the details aren't really as graphic as some books could be, but they are more emotionally traumatic. The book also deals with poverty and hunger, food insecurity, which I personally don't have a problem with, but I know that it could be a touchy topic for other readers, so that's definitely something to look out for. There wasn't really anything about the book that I found to be unusual. The formatting and the organization was pretty typical of a regular novel. Julie Kagawa has a unique writing style, I would say in my opinion, based on all the other books that I've read. Even though it is pretty similar to other young adult authors, but there's really nothing about it that changed the way that I read the book. So, yeah. I chose this book because it was one of my all-time favorites. I first read this book in high school because a family member got it for me as a gift. This book doesn't have a movie attached to it, but I think it would be a phenomenal movie series if somebody ever did that. I have reread this book probably 3 or 4 times since the first time I read it, and considering it's like 400 pages, it's pretty good. I wouldn't sit and read 400 pages again if it wasn't fantastic. The Immortal Rules was challenged and reported to be on the banned books list because of its recognition of like censorship in government, and that's relating to like vampire control of regular society. People were not happy that a young adult novel such as The Immortal Rules highlighted the censorship inflicted by the government on society. It also somewhat of a call to action for people to fight against government oppression and censorship, which I kind of think is a little ridiculous, but whatever. I think this is still a pressing issue in terms of censorship, but people are more concerned with other issues that books highlight nowadays, so it's not really super relevant, and it's an older novel, so that's probably makes sense. The novel series isn't as relevant because of its age, so yeah. As an English education major, I don't think I would teach this novel to a sophomore class. I feel like this book would be better suited in a junior or senior class solely because of the density of the book. The topics aren't too difficult for sophomores to understand, but because of the length and the density, I think that they would be like zoned out and quit before they even started the book because it just looked like too much work. I think it would be a good novel to read when discussing oppressive governments, freedom of rights, and even something as simple as character development, because there are so many characters that develop and change over the novel, so I think that would be a really cool project to do. I don't think there would be any controversies that would be addressed through this book unless a student had like pretty extreme varying opinions on human rights, government limitations, and censorship. I do think that this novel itself could be like a whole year study because there's so many topics and like so many different things that can be addressed through the one book. You really wouldn't need any other materials. Obviously, I don't think that's how that works, but it's just a thought. But yeah, it was an awesome book.